thought I would share with you, in case you're one of those frequent flyers. They have that offering of a 1-month pass for $599. I'm not kidding. I thought it was a joke, too. Fly as much as you want between September 8th and October 8th. And they're saying that the only stipulation is you got 3 days. You get a 3-day little thing. You got to...
So if I take the entire month off,
yeah,
I can just go wherever
you can
I
go
want,
wherever
any
you want.
day, anytime?
Right. The only problem is that you can only do it 3 days before. So there's a chance that if if it's business and you got to be in Chicago,
this won't be business.
Then that could be a problem. But if you're just fly by the seat of your pants as you are, you can very easily enjoy yourself. So take a sabbatical. I say I'm thinking about it myself if I didn't have to be on the radio 20 hours a day. So check that out, JetBlue. I thought that was a great deal. But I know that a lot of us out there, that $599 is a lot of money. The $599 we could probably use to help pay our mortgage. We could probably use it to help pay our car payments. And certainly there are a lot of people out there that may not want to admit it out loud or say it out loud, but we're having issues with our money. Let me tell you that the number of bankruptcies by the way, this year has already hit 1.4 million people. They say, will hit 1.4 million people by December 31st. They say that the increase is up 34% over July of last year, of 2008. That's a huge jump. You think 34% more people are filing bankruptcy today than they did last year. But we're not surprised, right? Because we did get drunk and disorderly. We went out and bought big houses and big cars, right? We did. So we certainly know that it was coming. But I thought that we should bring along some great guests that maybe can help us out a little bit. Because, as you guys already know, you're probably busier than you ever have been. Right? You can say it out loud. It's okay. We all know it. What's going on? I guess the first question, will filing bankruptcy actually protect people from their creditors? I think that's important. We all know about the phone calls you get right around dinner time where people want their money. And people are considering filing bankruptcy now, mostly because of the stress and the anxiety that comes along. So will filing bankruptcy actually protect you from your creditors?
Well,
Michael, we have Michael Goldstein, by the way. Michael Goldstein and Jill Phillips. Now, you're the guy, so we know you're Michael and then Jill. You guys probably got to get up closer to those mics, though, I think.
all right. So basically what happens when you file a bankruptcy is you do have the ability to protect yourself against certain creditors.
Yeah.
There's two types of debt, really. There's what's called unsecured debt and there's secured debt. Unsecured debt would be anything where a creditor doesn't have the right to come and take a property back.
They trusted you. They gave you the credit line.
That's right.
And they don't have anything to take from it.
That's right. And when that happens, when you file a bankruptcy, there's a section of the bankruptcy code, and that section is 362. And what happens is you have an automatic stay that kicks in. What that means is that any court proceedings, any attempts at collecting unsecured debt has to automatically stop.
Okay.
Now, if somebody has failed to pay their mortgage and they're in arrears, that same automatic stay stops the creditor from coming after them, and it'll stop a foreclosure dead in its tracks.
Yeah.
The problem is if you miss a payment after you file the bankruptcy, then those creditors can come into court and they can file a motion, and the court will lift that automatic stay. And that allows
Is that because that's a secured loan? Is that why?
That's correct.
Okay.
And what happens essentially is, while you're in the bankruptcy, you're protected from these creditors if you have secured debt, as long as you make your what's called post-petition payments.
Okay.
You're protected against those creditors.
So what about people that are having issues right now with foreclosure, with issues of paying their mortgage? Would you recommend? I guess it's going to be a difficult question to answer, but at what point would you recommend them to either file for bankruptcy or maybe not?
Well, Jill, I'll let you take that.
If I may, it's a new world. I've practiced for about 10 years.
Yeah.
It's a different.
I'm glad to hear you say it like that.
Thanks.
Because that's why we have the beginning of the show, that song, A New Day, because we agree with you.
It really is. It's amazing. I was thinking about that when I started. It was refinancing was a dirty word,
Yeah.
and we wouldn't recommend it to a client. Today, there's so many different opportunities, with the economy and the amount of money people are making and what opportunities there are out there.
Yeah.
Some of them, of course, are, you've heard the word loan modification.
Yep.
We've been doing loan modifications for over 10 years, at least since I started to practice. But they become a real popular word. We used to call them workouts.
What'd you call them?
Workouts. Just workouts.
Yeah.
We're working out the terms of
Scotty,
contract.
you've never heard of a workout.
I was about to say, you work out. Well, what? Work what?
Without the sweat. Without the sweat.
Now
But
that I
there's-
like. I like that part.
There is some sweat involved,
Yeah.
let me tell you, at some point. But at any rate, and there's also this new program called the HAMP program. The federal government has stepped up and tried to help homeowners right now. So it's a different time. So the question is, and it's timing, and that's why I always recommend going to a consumer debt attorney, not
Yeah.
just a bankruptcy attorney, because sometimes
What's the difference?
well, a bankruptcy attorney only does bankruptcy law.
Yeah.
I think there's no real actual definition, but when you look at a consumer debt attorney, you look at all the options. Someone who understands, like Mr. Goldstein understands to do loan modifications, or is this a type of mortgage that we should look at the HAMP program?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, worst case scenario, he has the ability to pull the trigger to file the bankruptcy. What I recommend to any consumer is to go into an attorney that does bankruptcy as well as modification, that understands HAMP programs, understand creditor workouts, to see what the best case scenario is for them, and not just rush right into a bankruptcy.
Have we seen the level of bankruptcy rise here in the state of Massachusetts?
Well, the level has risen. One of the things that a lot of people need to remember is that the entire bankruptcy law, the bankruptcy code, if you will, was rewritten in 2005.
Yeah. And
the purpose of that was to kind of hinder or to slow down the bankruptcy filings, to slow down the Chapter 7 filings.
Yeah.
And there are two types of filings really for consumers, Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. Chapter 13 being a program where it's more of a reorganization. You have to pay back a portion of your debt.
So what's the point of a 13?
Well, the point of the 13 is...
Who would file that?
A few people. And when you think of a Chapter 7, that's really a true liquidation. That's what most people think of when they think of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
The problem is, based on the new law, if you as a household earn more than the median income for the state that you're living in, right, in Massachusetts, for example, the number is somewhere around $54,000 for an individual.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to file a Chapter 7 unless you pass a very difficult test called a means test.
Yeah.
If you can't pass that, if you make too much money, you're almost forced into this Chapter 13. And in a Chapter 13, you're really reorganizing your life. The government's giving you a chance to get yourself back on your feet.
Yeah.
And what happens is you have to take a look at the debt that you have. You've got two types of debt. You have the secured debt and the unsecured that we talked about before.
Yeah.
You take the secured debt and you put it into one pile. Any arrears you have, anything that you've missed payments on, mortgages, car payments, things like that, you have to pay 100% of that back. But then you have the unsecured debt. And in a Chapter 13, you still get a discharge very much the same way you do in a Chapter 7, except you're going to pay back a small portion of it.
Okay,
And
so it's prorated or something.
it is. And
Yeah.
really the way that it's figured out is based on the disposable income you
Yeah.
have. How much money do you have at the end of the month after you take the kids to dance class
Yeah.
and to, all of that.